we are back, and we're going to talk about some great things. I want to talk about WVU baseball, but we do need to talk about this first.
It was a crosstown shootout. Yeah, no, what it was all those fakes, those Catholic fakes, I think.
All right.
They were envious they didn't have one.
See, the little extra part he threw in there, that really bothers me. So anyway, we're going to talk about this. We got Mike Asti. Mike is taking a little heat on Twitter because he's made the point that, hey, this wasn't okay. And we need to talk. We need to not just say it's just Huggy Bear being Huggy Bear. Mike, this story broke. I don't think a lot of people have listened to the clip. I think most people have just read it, and just some people don't even know the story, and they're just immediately saying Bob was right. Everybody else, you're all just you're pansies. You're all too liberal. You're all woke, and that wasn't your opinion, and you took some heat for it,
to say the least. But again, and I've been like this for a while. You have to develop a thick skin to be in journalism these days. So I've taken heat before, and I'm going to take heat again. I kind of just live the life. I'm just honest. I don't live the life with a liberal agenda or a conservative agenda. I live the life of being honest and giving my thoughts on each situation individually. It's not like I'm coming at it where I got to spin this one way or spin this another way to fit my narrative. I don't do that. I keep it real. I try to be honest and just give my thoughts. And as I told you off the air, initially, because I saw a tweet, I saw a tweet initially from a meteorologist in the Cincinnati market. And I got some meteorologist friends, no shade to them. I don't generally look for my sources for my sports coverage from meteorologists. Yeah. Maybe you hear something, you're certainly probably in the know of media in some way, but I wasn't going to take that to be enough. I saw that tweet. I saw the replies. I saw where it was going. There was a lot of Xavier fans, Cincinnati fans, and what Doug Gottlieb, who's in national media with Fox Sports, I talk to him frequently, got him to give thoughts for a story, and he immediately was telling me he didn't know where this was going to go, but this is just the life of Xavier Cincinnati. That was my initial thoughts too, that I don't know if everyone's even familiar with that rivalry, maybe who's not familiar with Huggins' whole career. Maybe West Virginia fans that are younger don't even know that rivalry. Maybe you're not aware of how bad blood that is. That Pitt and West Virginia is nothing comparison to the bad blood and venom that is there. There is a legit hatred. There are things that have been done, said, threats that have been made to Huggins and his family going way back when he was head coach of Cincinnati by Xavier fans. Happened again when he coached West Virginia at Xavier, and they're probably at that point the kids of the people that hated him before. Think about that. Guys, this would be like, and I said this to a colleague, this would be like if West Virginia fans had a venom and a hatred for Ben Howland. Hasn't coached at Pitt since the early 2000s. That's the venom that Xavier fans have. So that's where it initially was. And I didn't want to just take that and run with it and then cause more fire and flame the fire by covering it. I wanted to wait until I would hear more, tried to find out more. And then the clip you just played got out there, awful announcing, put it out there. I honestly thought for a while we weren't going to get that because working so long in radio, and Matty, obviously you have that experience too. If a radio station or a media member or a host or something to that effect wants to get a clip out to smear somebody, it doesn't take 4.5 hours. So I thought that this taking so long, maybe there's not a clip, or maybe there actually was somebody who jumped in the replies of the meteorologist that he said a different word that was followers of God and that it was misinterpreted. So I thought, okay, maybe that was the case. But when you hear the audio, all bets are off. There's no mincing words. It's clear as day. It's not even really allegedly, like we debated on whether you call it that or not in the headline, because it's there. He said it. It's obvious. Huggins didn't shy away. He admitted he said it, gave an apology. So they weren't dancing around at the university. Huggins wasn't, and it's out there. And it's really, really bad. It is a homophobic slur. And the way he said it, as you put it too, I saw your tweet, it came off like it's not the first time. It came off casual. It came off comfortable. It came off as quote unquote locker room talk with friends that was on the air. I don't know whether he thought it would be dumped or he wasn't on then or what. It's hard to believe he's that dumb.
I will say this, that when you do live radio, you have what's called a dump button, and it's
right.
And if somebody says something, you hit the button and it deletes the last 15 seconds. Whoever was on their dump button did not do a good job and probably should be fired. No. The other thing about live radio is that if nobody's sitting at home recording live radio, they used to, they don't do that anymore. Yeah, so if a clip gets out, that means somebody internally got it out. Like it had to have come from the radio station. So that's a whole nother story. Steve.
Yeah, because he's friends, by the way, with Cunningham. He's good friends.
Oh, yeah. And Cunningham's been around forever. He's everybody in radio knows him.
So unless it's like some intern or a producer that went rogue, like how did that get out there? Why did that get out there? Why did it take so long to get out there? It's not important now. He said it. I don't want to live a denial world that if he thought those things and we didn't know, like it's better to know now. But yeah, that's something that's part of this too.
So Steve, I want to get Steve and I talked about this a little beforehand, and we were talking about how we will both admittedly say we have used that word in our lifetimes when we were younger.
Sure. I mean, in my life, I can't lie and say I've never used the word, right?
I don't now.
Right.
And then now. Steve.
Yeah. It was just, I think it was from the era just the comfortability of it and just not in a sense of, what it has grown to be towards everybody. That wasn't how the word is, but that's not my place to say, hey, oh, well, here's how I'm using it. If it's not important to be used, I won't use it. But I can understand it, but nor would I fight it to say, give an explanation because, like I said, if you don't come from where I come from or where Bobby comes from, I don't know where Bobby comes from to that sense of what harbored those words that come out. But I know that, hey, what the backlash it is, and you can't explain those things if there's enough people against you.
And that generation, being gay is like the worst thing you could call somebody. That's what's really sad, but it's true.
Yeah, 69, 70 years old. That's a whole generation above all of us, right?
And then Steve, and this also, I'm a big fan of the Oakland Athletics, and Kuiper just used the N-word very casually on the air. To me, that means he uses it all the time if you're going to slip and say it on the air. So for me, I love Kuip, but you're gone. Sorry. That is not excusable.
Tom Brenneman, Huggins' good friend. Again, that's another Cincinnati connection, similar situation. It's happened a lot, actually, in recent years. But it came off casual. It did come off casual to Huggins. That's kind of where I am, too. I'm not going to mince words on this or try to pick at it. He said it. It's bad. You can't defend it. It is indefensible. You cannot defend it.
It's being defended, though. That's the sad part about all of this.
It is 100% being defended. Although I also am trying to pivot to the stance of it's also getting a little bit in my craw now that the characterization around the country is that all West Virginia fans are okay with this, all alums are okay with this, the whole school's okay with this. Yeah. And apparently the opinion has been told to me they're going to base their opinion on how we all feel off of what the university does. And I'm trying to tell people this decision is going to happen basically off of Gordon Gee, Ren Baker, and that might be it. Maybe a conversation with Huggs if you want to resign or not. It's not like it's my call, so it's not. You're not going to throw what they decide on me.
Well, Mike, let me throw this in, and Steve, this is where I want to pull you in. This is also the players' call, right, Steve? Like, what if if the players are like, "Hey, we're uncomfortable," which I don't know if they will or won't.
Sure.
But Steve, what would
I don't see?
Do you think that would they be asked?
You'd be hard pressed to find a player now that's sticking through with Bobby because, like I said, as players, we all make mistakes during practice. You're gonna make mistakes during the game, when bullets are flying. So this is a mistake, but as if everybody else has been given a happy stance of being able to make right in public, I think that's the best way is to, hey, show remorse, show you understand, and, do your best you can to be an advocate and delete it from your vocabulary. Because
beautiful
cancel culture,
be an advocate.
It was like, even like with prison system was supposed to be reformed. You can't cancel everybody because then nobody's ever going to learn, and you don't want anybody to hold the animosity to where if they're in charge of somebody else and they're breeding young adults or young children, they're still going to have that animosity because it's going to be fuck it. If it's anything's going to happen to me, I might as well stand still.
I mean, I can tell you though, like Emmett Matthews put a tweet out there basically saying that we heard a lot worse going back to the Xavier game, because I know they did. I heard some things off the record on what his daughter even heard. And then you also have, Matty, the difference now, I think, with this situation versus if this would have happened when, say, Steve was playing, if, say, Rich Rod did something like this. Bob Huggins is in the midst of this offseason rebuilding almost the entire roster off of an entire new group from the transfer portal, similar to what he did a year ago. But this is a group now that's being called one of the better recruiting groups in the transfer portal era in the country. And you don't have that many players that, as we're speaking now, have played under Hugs that are going to be on the 2023 team, assuming they don't transfer out if this decision doesn't go a certain way, meaning that they've committed, they haven't fully signed, even the ones that have signed now, because some of those have trickled down. They haven't even got on the court with Huggins. They've just signed, and that's it. So you're going to have a situation, and I do wonder if this is part of the conversation, because you could poll the locker room, but you only have a couple players that are right now that you can legitimately poll. You can't talk to a commitment who hasn't signed. And separate from that, Ren Baker especially, he's not a good old boy West Virginia guy. This is a new blood guy in there who's early 40s, a money guy who so far I think has made all the right decisions, very calculated. He's at an elite level of media handling too. He put those comments together within seconds, not knowing much before the coach's caravan, and was perfect with it. So with all of that said, I do think, and it might not be, maybe it shouldn't be part of the conversation, that I do think that in the meeting, they're going to think to themselves, look, if we do pull the trigger and fire Hugs, I'll flat out tell you guys, they're going to probably lose all those transfers. All.
Oh,
then who are you going to,
it's going to gut, it's going to gut our whole,
like, I think it would honestly gut program. To the point. Yeah. Like, I really think, like, I don't want to, this will be a hot take here, and I'm not going to say this definitively, but there's a possibility this is a de facto death penalty on the basketball program. I'm not saying forever necessarily, but I'm talking about you lose all those players now. Who are you going to get to really coach there? You're probably going to be promoting Everhart because you don't want to give it to Dermar, who's only been there a few months, even though he's the young guy that all the recruits would like to have as the head coach. So you're going to lose those. The players that are there are going to leave. You're going to have a bunch of scrubs playing basketball. You win 8 games. It'll happen again for 2-3 years. And at that point, no one's going to remember the history, etc. You can't put Huggins' name on a court if you're firing him. Like, it could really, really send you down a course of it being bad. And I do think they'd want to avoid that. So it's hard. You don't want to factor that in something like this. And the other end of it, my first instinct immediately was, this is really, really bad. You can't defend it. And this is going to end his career. That's just how the world we live in. It's Huggins. He's a basketball Hall of Famer. It's a good thing he already got in, because he wouldn't get in later. Oh. And that's going to be it. It feels like this is going long enough now that if I had to bet, that wouldn't be the decision, and they're trying to provide an out. But my only thing, too, is that if you keep them, you have 2 decisions. If you keep them, you're going to have protests. You're going to have people that are never going to stop bringing this up. You're going to have this stain you. Here's the example. The Penn State football program is one of the better football programs in the history of the sport. They just won the Rose Bowl. There are people still, if they win, if they lose, that will get on Twitter and say, Jerry Sandusky, every fan's a pedophile. That is going to happen to the West Virginia basketball program, to the Mountaineers in perpetuity, especially if you keep them. And there might be protests at games, at Final Fours, at NCAA tournaments, etc. But if you cut bait, you're really hurting the team as well. And maybe he'll learn. Like, I don't know. But it's a catch-22. It's bad both ways. There's no winners here.
Steve.
I think that's in every sport. You're going to have look what Michael Vick went through for years.
Yeah.
Even from doing his time in jail, coming to the Eagles, going to Pittsburgh, going different places. You're going to have these teams that are going to hold these things over you until you're on their team or you're somehow aligned with them. So that's going to be, the way of sports.
Well,
I don't think it'd be smart to cut them. I think it's the best thing to do sometimes is set an example. And I think set an example is, put him in the forefront of those things that need to be talked about. You can only hate on him so much if he's not putting the work in.
So I think that to me is also key. It's, we have an opportunity, and if I saw some folks commenting that, oh, what is he going to learn? Yeah. You know what? He will learn. I mean, I grew up in a very racist place, and I will be honest, my mom used the N-word. It took her coming and meeting my best friend and hanging out with my friends when I was in Oakland she would always say, I'm not racist, I just use that word and she was almost 75. And she said, I am sorry I used that word ever. I would never say that around, my friend Marcus. He's like a son to her. And honestly, like, she had an awakening, and God bless her for having it, because when you grow up in a town I grew up in places where, like, that's the only influence you have. Is that
in her awakening? She was over 70 at the time.
She was like 70. Yeah, she was there. I mean, not that she, my mom was a beautiful woman, heart of gold, but she's just from the generation where that was okay to say that word. My dad says colored people still once in a while, and I'm like, Dad, you can't, but there's nothing I can say to get him through that, because again, he doesn't think he's doing anybody any harm. And I think the same is being said here
too, right?
With this is people are going, well, who cares that he said that? Well, the people who are hurt by it, and those are the people that need to talk to Bob and sit down and explain. Okay, here is what happens when that word is used, and bring up Matthew Shepard, bring up some of the stuff that's happened in the past to homosexual folks. And I mean, when people who are homosexual and have had to hide it their whole lives, or get beat up, or picked on at school, or all kinds of shit, they all have a story. And it's the same thing, I would say, when people are talking about African Americans and the police, I don't know very many African Americans who haven't had a run-in with the police. And I hear them, I listen to their story, and I'm like, okay, well, yeah, I get it. All right. I just don't
can't really feel it.
He needs to listen.
Like, you and I are never
feel it. I will never feel it, but I can try to be empathetic, and that's all I can be.
Yeah. Like, you and I, Matty, are never going to be able, we can all have our own opinions, but we are never going to be able to get pulled over for speeding and feel what Steve would feel if he got pulled over. Like, he's just going to feel something, regardless if it's a former NFL player, the cop may recognize him. He's still going to feel, I'm a black man who just got pulled over. He's going to be probably more nervous than we would be. So we're never going to be able to really feel that. And yeah, I mean, I had a good friend from high school that was a college roommate my first couple years in college. He eventually came out. He was in the closet for so long. He eventually confessed to me that he, was in the closet because of the society, and thought that our other mutual friend would hate on him, and, all of that. So we all have those connections, and we've all dealt with that. And it's almost, I think also it's a situation, Steve, and I think your thoughts would be interesting on this as an African American, because I saw a lot of people in my replies trying to argue that the F word that Bob used is not as bad as the N word. Like, there were people telling me that everything Matty brought up about the N word and how bad that is, and people having awakenings about that, and knowing about racism and how bad that is, but the F word is different and it's not as bad, and etc.
Well, I think
what are your thoughts on that? I mean, you're a minority. I'm sure you've heard the N word, as unfortunate as that is. Like, do you look at the F word as the same? Do you know people maybe that think of the N word as worse, but don't think of the F word as anything?
I really think it takes a part of region, where you're from, who you grew up around. It's a lot of things that I think entail in it. But for me, is that this word has been around for so long. The N word has been around for so long, and it's been weaponized. It still stay weaponized. It's not treated as far as the movement for LGBTQ, how words have been weaponized against them have been stopped. It's in such a shorter period. So I'm not gonna say it's a worse word. It's just that one has had been victimized for so long, and still used in certain senses. One has been victimized for a shorter period of time and turned into a cancellation culture.
I think we've solved this. Good job, guys. Steve, good job. Mike,
I'm
good
sure
job.
we didn't come near it. I don't know if it'll ever be full.
I mean, we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
I mean, there'll be a decision made, and we'll live with it. I mean, that's it.
Yeah, and we can't decide it. It's not. Everyone's allowed to have their own opinions on it, and it's hard for me to say that anyone's opinion on it is completely wrong unless you're excusing the infraction of what Bob did and what he said, because even Bob agrees it was wrong, and that was wrong. We should all agree that was wrong. If you didn't agree that was wrong, that's on you. But in terms of how to handle it, nobody really knows the right answer. And honestly, guys, there's no winners here. It's not like anyone's winning this by handling this properly. Everyone would rather this didn't happen.
Yeah. So, Bob, disappointing to say the least, and we'll see what happens. Something has not been disappointing, and Steve and I were talking about a little bit earlier, is this baseball team. I mean, when we joined the Big 12, if you would have told me that our baseball team would win the Big 12, I would have said you're fucking stupid. Because, mean, especially when we joined Texas, Oklahoma, they were powerhouse baseball programs, still are. So what happened, Mike?
Well, yeah, and going back to when Steve and I were in college, the baseball team was okay, and Jed Jerko was there. Shout out to Jed Jerko, but that was pretty much it when I was calling those games. And yeah, you wouldn't expect this. Honestly, going into this season, even as good as the team's been the last few years, I thought this would be a bridge year and they wouldn't be good because they don't have the MLB prospects that they've had in recent years and Manoah, etc. So what's happening is they're scoring tons of runs. Weatherholt, even when he's going in and out of the lineup because of injury, he pops right back in, home run, like he didn't miss a beat. Their lineup is just incredibly powerful. They're running the base pads, they're moving runners over, they're playing small ball with power. For baseball fans who maybe don't follow this team, it is small ball. It is Oakland Athletics style ball.
Yeah,
that's the West Virginia baseball strategy, but they are falling. For Seinfeld fans, they're falling ass backwards onto some power with the small ball. And you have Caleb and Neely also hitting home runs, and they're getting some pitching. I think pitching will eventually hold them back from going really far. But this is a team that top 15 team, top 12 team as we're speaking, probably going to be a top 10 team. I mean, it doesn't matter about the rivals and they're beating Pitt and those teams. They're doing it in Big 12 play. As you mentioned, beating Big 12 teams, legit competition. And this is a special year for the baseball program. I feel like it's probably going under the radar because how much love does baseball get amongst West Virginia fans when you got football and basketball. But this is a really special baseball season.
Steve, I saw a comparison of this baseball team's breakout season as similar to your and Pat's breakout season.
That's big words.
That's what I said. What do you
Lord help.
What do you feel about that comparison, Steve?
I think you just got to view the numbers. I feel like with we changed enrollment, we changed Thursday night games, we changed Saturday night games. So I feel like it's hard to overtake football when football runs the world. I mean, I know America's or baseball is America's favorite pastime, but football still brings all the dollars in at the end of the day for the lower levels.
Well, it's ridiculous. But I will say this: I am a giant Oakland Athletics fan. I lived in Oakland for 17 years. It's my second home, and they've broken my heart. They're going to move to Vegas, and I don't know what to do. I mean, I can't stop rooting for the A's, but fuck, I'm upset, and I'm very angry, and I'm mad. And
a lot of Raiders fans still root for the Vegas Raiders.
I don't. I have now adopted this base. This is my baseball team now. My wife is caught she's now now that I can know that they're on ESPN Plus. She's like, "Oh, you're watching a lot of baseball again." I'm like, "Yeah," because this is actually a team that's winning too, which is
right. Where we at, like $6 a month, and you get a lot of wins. I mean,
I traded off a barely minor league baseball team for a really good college baseball team.
And even when they lose, they do it in entertaining fashion. Because the game they lost to Penn State earlier in the season, they like imploded 4 runs in an inning. They're allowing, grand slams and just looked ridiculous with errors. So they put runs on the board. They're fun to watch. They're energetic. They're pumping their fists and yelling. Every picture we have on WV Sports Now, their mouths are open. They're pumping their fists. They're dogpiling. And some of these are just like a solo home run in the second inning, and they're dogpiling like they won the World Series. This is a fun team to watch.
The energy is also amongst the fans. The new stadium is
selling
great.
Out games.
And let me say this: we have good baseball fans. I always watch what's going on during the pitches, and when I see people staring at their phones or standing up during the pitch, it makes me so angry.
You're really watching.
Oh, and I'm really a guy that, like, at the ballpark, if you stand up during a pitch, I will yell at you. I will tell you you're not supposed to do that. You're supposed to sit kneeling and sit kneeling in the walkway. Then the pitch goes. Then you can walk down. Nobody cares anymore. There's no etiquette left in baseball. But I've seen some good etiquette from our fans and our stadium, and it's a lot of fun. And that brings us to our game today, guys. See, look what I did there. So fucking pro.
Very nice.
All right, Steve, Slayton, Mike, Jay, Asti. You two will be playing a game today called the baseball promotion game. I'm going to tell you about a baseball promotion that was done at a minor league stadium, and you're going to tell me whether, yes, Matt, that really happened, or no, Matty, that was imagine your little tiny brain. Sounds like a game. All right. Okay, let's start with this one. All right, let me by the way, Vince, this would be a great time to take me out to the ballpark underneath the show. Okay. All right. I'm producing from the back here. All right, let's start with this one. Jose Canseco Juice Box Night. Jose Canseco finished his tarnished career with a Long Beach Armada, and a longtime rival Fullerton Flyers decided to have a little fun with it. The Flyers gave 500 boxes of juice away when Canseco came to town, mocking the release of his book, Juiced. Did that actually happen? Let's start with the guest, Mike Asti.
First of all, that'd be awesome. That would be a great idea. I'm going to say, because this is hard with minor league baseball, I'm going to say that happened. I feel like that would, have some fun with it. I don't know. I don't believe Jose probably didn't show up, but I could see them doing it anyway.
I feel like that's too good of a story not to happen. But I mean, with
Matty can make some things up, though. I've experienced him making some good things up.
I said, with out of the game, I'll go against and say it's fake.
Oh, that one actually did happen. That is actually an event that happened.
Did Jose show up or no?
I want to know. They didn't say that. I'm sure he did.
I'm going to look that up. He might have, maybe. Yeah. I don't know.
All right, here's one for you. Britney Spears baby safety night. The Newark Bears decided to take advantage when Britney Spears was caught driving with her infant son in her lap instead of a baby seat. Any fan who dressed as a baby, brought an actual baby, or just a baby toy got in free. Everybody in the stands received a brochure on baby safety.
I got a new baby. Can I bring her and go free?
Well, you could have then. Steve Slayton, did that actually happen or not?
I feel like with the time and age that's appropriate to happen, so yeah, that happened.
Okay. I'm going to say that did not happen. That seems too good to be true, but that also would be hilarious.
We have a tie game. That actually did happen.
Wow. Okay.
All right. Stripper Appreciation Night.
Man.
The Las Vegas Aviators held a night to celebrate the grand tradition of strippers in Las Vegas. Strippers got in free, but things turned sour when drunk men kept bothering them to take their tops off for tips, and some obliged them. Did that happen or not? We go to Mike Asti.
Family fun, too, apparently. I'm going to say Las Vegas is the chance, but I'm going to say that did not happen. That seems like way too risky, and it is generally a family situation at a minor league game.
I agree being a family situation, but I'll just say if any place would happen, it would be probably Vegas, Miami, or Atlanta. Vegas, yeah. So,
right.
I'm going to say, yeah, it happened.
That is not one that happened. I'm sorry. Mike takes a 2-1 lead. Runners on first and third, 2 outs. All right, here we go. Let's next one is Low IQ Day in Alabama. The Rocket City Trash Pandas of the Single A League, real team, Just so you know that wasn't this isn't a team that was made up. This is really a team. The Rocket City Trash Pandas of Single A League held a promotion where anyone who could bring in proof of an IQ lower than 100 got free hot dog and beer.
Oh wow!
They found out not many people wanted to prove that, but those that did come seemed to have had a really good time.
And now their IQ's lower too.
It's just weird how many people know their IQ's that low, unless they're doing email games. Some would say no, it didn't happen.
Yeah, unless you took like an IQ test or the Wonderlic or something like that, which I'm always tempted to take. I'm going to say that did not happen. That seems like if it did happen, that would have been years ago. Because if you do that today, even minor league fun, that's too politically incorrect to be calling people out like that. I can't see them doing that. Yeah, I can't see that.
That's a point each. Yeah, I made that one up.
Okay.
My IQ's 120, by the way. Let's get on to the next one. Awful night. The Altoona Curve can claim the title of grossest promoter ever. Gross competitions were held throughout the game, including bobbing for onions, a dead fish slingshot catch, and an autograph session with random people. The first 1,000 fans to the game received a picture of GM Todd Parnell's recently removed gallbladder, while one lucky fan actually won the gallbladder itself. Did that happen or not, Steve Slayton?
That's a tough one. I feel like where was this?
Altoona, buddy. PA, come on.
You ever been?
I've been.
Yeah, I've been there.
I feel like it's fuck it. It happened. It sounds stupid as shit, but say it happened.
It really does sound dumb. The whole thing of giving the gallbladder is the only thing that scares me away, but I'm tempted to say it happened as well.
Okay, Steve said it did not happen, and you said it happened. It did.
Oh, Steve, Steve, did you say it did not happen or did?
Oh, it did happen.
Okay.
Yeah. It did happen. That would make the win for Mike, but this isn't a 5. This isn't 5 this round. I've got a couple more for you guys because this was.
See, I was helping Steve. I want to keep this.
This was too much fun. Anger Management Day. Just days after a rival team's manager had a complete meltdown, the Augusta Green Jackets held a doozy of a promotion. They offered the first 250 fans free stress balls and a DVD copy of the movie Anger Management starring Adam Sandler. That goes to Mike.
I'll say that actually sounds cool. I'll say that did happen. And also for an aside, I don't know if you guys know Eric Little, fellow WVU alum, a little older than me, also U92 guy. He former play-by-play for the Augusta Green Jackets.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going to say yeah, just because of the fact that it was a lot of baseball in the movie. And I feel like that would be pretty cool.
Yeah, that sounds like something that you could get away with. It's not politically incorrect, fun, ridiculous.
That one did happen.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Let's see. I think we've got 1 or 2 left here. I got 1 left here.
Okay.
Terrell Owens Unappreciation Night. The promotion was held in 2006 when Owens was still playing for the Philadelphia Eagles. A team in Atlantic City, New Jersey held this promotion, which fans received whoopee cushions and a picture of Terrell Owens on the whoopee cushion so you could sit on Terrell's face and it farted. Fans could also buy 81-cent hot dogs. That was his number.
2006 is right around that time period. I'll say that first off, I love me some me and T.O. I'm going to say that happened. Big T.O. guy though. I'm a big T.O. fan.
It sounds like a very Philadelphia thing to do.
But yeah, you were in the NFL at that point too. Like that's like right when you were in the league,
college,
right?
2006. But
okay, I thought you were just getting it.
For profit margin, 81 cents doesn't make it cut. So no,
it actually did happen.
That's something that I feel like would be fun in that era. Yeah.
And
T.O.'s awesome.
The win goes the hands over to Mike. Mike J. Asti. Please plug where everyone can read the article that I'm quoted in and all of your stuff. And also, I think I'll let you make the announcement of the person who you've brought on full time now, which I think is absolutely a
yeah,
good pick, but I want to make
yeah.
fun of him at the same time.
Well, you can. I mean, we all do. Need somebody around to do that with. Yeah, it's number one, Ethan Bach. He's now the full-time basketball guy for us. So he's getting my full leadership full time. No more class for Ethan Bach. Has a degree, so he's with us full time, still covering the men's team. And unfortunately for Ethan, first week on the job, it's to talk about and cover Huggins in this unfortunate scenario. So my apologies, but yeah, he's with us now, and that is. I can hear that too. WV Sports Now. Yeah, WV Sports Now is where you can go to find that and to find Ethan and all of our coverage of all Mountaineer athletics. You can also find me personally, where I do get into a lot of Mountaineer coverage, but also separate from that with sports in general with my Mic Drop podcast, which is available Apple, Stitcher, Spotify, TuneIn, etc. And yeah, we have Ethan with us now. So congrats to Ethan. Unfortunately, I already told him though I owe him a beer, many beers actually, because of what he's having to deal with this. But
can you make him better on the air? Because he was dreadful when he was on with us. Just dreadful. It was like pulling teeth.
I'm not hating on Ethan. Ethan's been on the air with me before. I feel like I mentored him.
Yeah, but you talk all the time, Mike. You probably didn't even notice that he was terrible. Like, honestly,
I'm a good listener as well. I hear everything you've said, and I'm able to respond to it. I'm just as good of a listener as I am a talker.
Steve, go, buddy.
I'm not going to hate Ethan, though.
As always, you can find me on Twitter, Steve23 Slayton, and on Instagram, Mr. Slayton.
You can find me and yell at me on Twitter at Matty Stout. Glad to have my account back. STAUDT is how you spell.
Oh, that's
Stout.
right. Yeah, congrats.
Only took 7 weeks and tracking down.
That took you a while.
Somebody at Twitter to actually help me do it. Thank you, Elon Musk. You can catch, of course, the show at Burning Couch Pod on Twitter, Instagram, all of that stuff. Our YouTube channel is blown up and actually far exceeds the numbers that we do on this fine podcast. So go check that out on YouTube. Also, to let you know, our friends at the Book Exchange would love to sell you some baseball gear. Go buy some and use the Burning Couch as your code to get 25% off. We would appreciate it. Let me tell you something. We're up for renewal, and we don't get renewed if you people don't use this bonus code. So go on and use this GD bonus code so we get money, so we can pay Vince. If not, I'm going to have to go back to editing the damn show, and I'm not doing it.
Yeah.
All right.
This was fun. I appreciate this because it's obviously been a very stressful week for me covering this. So this was fun.
Yeah. Thanks for pulling me into it too, Mike. Steve Slayton. Any parting words for the fans?
Hey, watch your mouth. Watch your mouth.
Mic drop.